Steve Gamache with a Chef Knives to Go quick look product video on the Sakai Takayuki Damascus Hammered Santoku 180mm knife. This line of knives has a core steel of VG10 stainless at a heat treat rating of about Rockwell 60. And the construction of this is a stainless multi-layered Damascus cladding on top of that core steel. So you'll see the Damascus here showing where the grind starts down towards the edge. And you'll see the core steel right there at the edge on both sides. Get it to show up here in the light. There you go. And the blade face itself here has a hammered finish called a susimi or pebble type hammered finish. And that adds to the nice look of the knife, character of the knife, as well as provides some non-stick qualities with the dimples on there. So interesting construction on this knife. It's a very pretty knife. The weight of this blade is 6.3 ounces, or 178 grams, and the blade length is about 180 millimeters, 7.1 inches, so it's a nice long Santoku, which is really cool. The overall length is about 12 inches, and the spine at the base is fairly thin. It's about 1.9 millimeters, and it pretty much maintains that all the way down, pretty close to that, until you hit the grind about right here, where the face starts to get ground down to the edge, and it tapers off there. And that's typical of a lot of Santokus, actually. The blade height here at the heel is 45 millimeters. The handle is a nicely done brown-colored Pakawood Western-style full-tang metal bolster handle. The balance point on this knife is just about right here where the bolster kicks in to the knife blade. And the edge profile is just a good, classic, fairly flat Santoku profile. This is a friend of mine's knife. I turned him on to it, and he really liked it, and he's been using it for a couple of months now. Here's the edge, which is quite thin, so this is a good, thin, nice-performing Santoku. And I borrowed the knife from him. I took the opportunity to sharpen it a little bit for him. He doesn't really know much about Japanese knives, so he's not super aware of all the care of them, but there was a little bit of microchipping towards the heel, but the blade was in pretty good shape on the edge, which means this steel is pretty forgiving, because I know he's not quite schooled yet on all the characteristics of those, so we'll get him there. Don't worry about that. But that impressed me. So even with whatever he was doing with the knife, and he probably wasn't super gentle on it, it held the edge quite well. So I sharpened it up. It sharpened quickly, easily. The chips came out very simply, very easily on the knife. It really worked well. And so, of course, I have it in hand, and so I played with it a little bit. And this is a really good performing knife. It's a little bit sharp on the corners of the spine and the heel, so I went ahead and took it to some 400 grit and actually 200 grit and 200 grit and 600 grit sandpaper, and worked the edge. And I worked it quite a bit up here, and then I actually worked it a little bit all the way down the spine to about right here, and then I worked it a little bit at the heel. And doing that made the knife significantly more comfortable. If you're going to use the knife for long periods of time, those sharper corners on the heel, choil area, and the spine will tend to dig in a little bit and cause some discomfort. So it doesn't take too much. It took about 10, 12 minutes to knock that down on both of them and both areas of the knife, and it came out much more comfortable than going in. So it's not difficult to do at all. The fit and finish is very, very good on these. As I said, the only thing would be a little relief on the choil spine areas. The knife went through everything very, very well. As with a lot of Santokus, you've got a little bit of thickness that carries over all the way into almost the tip. So you get a little bit of lift on onions and stuff with the horizontal strokes, and just a slight bit of wedging. But overall, it's got a really nice grind, a nice taper, goes through ingredients well. It's just a nice performing, good all-around Santoku. So very impressed with the performance of this knife, handling, fit and finish, look. It's just a good package. And the price is quite reasonable for all this great performance and looks. And it's a good knife, good value. So there you have the Sakai Takayuki Damascus Hammered Santoku 180mm knife.